Hello everyone in sculpture land. I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how to do your Repousse assignment. I'm going to show you a couple tricks, give you a couple tips, and then hopefully it'll help you out. But there's a lot of great videos online you can look at too, but this one's just kind of like me doing a quick couple tips for you. So first I want to show you a trick. So the design I ended up making was a symmetrical design. Now this is a cat, it's upside down here. I'm going to try and use this DVD player thing to show it to you. This is all funky, but oh yeah, it's working. Check that out. So I'm doing this cat, right? Now I want to have the other side of the face be the same size as this one. So what I did is I put a lot of extra lead here, and then I'm going to fold it over. So you can actually see me doing this. I fold it over. And then you just need to, you can use a pen or scissors works good for this, like the handles of scissors. You can also trace it at a window or use a pencil. But if you put enough lead on your drawing, it should give you a ghost image. So that means now I have the ability to just redraw the other side and it's perfectly symmetrical. So that's a nice little trick. Now I'm going to trace my drawing onto the tin, the metal foil. So the foil is kind of thick, right? It's definitely not like your average tin foil. It's thick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pen so that I can see where I went before. So when you do this, you want to try and make pretty smooth lines. And use the pen, like I said, so you can see where you've gone before. Now I'm not going to make a, do the entire thing for you because it actually takes a while. But take your time when you're making the line and press pretty hard. Like, don't go crazy, but don't be super light about it. The first time I did it, I was pretty light, and I ended up having to kind of go back and redo some of the lines so I could see where they were. So don't be afraid to press in a bit. Like I said, I'm just going to do part of this. I'm just going to draw the one half instead of both halves so you can kind of see what this process looks like. And I would use a dull pencil or a ballpoint pen. You don't want it to be super sharp. We're not trying to cut through the metal. We're just trying to dent it a bit. Trying to make an indent in the metal so you can see where your designs are, and we can do the actual repousse and push the metal out to create the 3D effects. Okay, so here we go. You can see that the design is in there, right? It's kind of opposite. Go. So now what you're going to do is you're going to start the repousse. So notice that this stuff bends easy, so you really want to try to avoid messing it up and bending it as much as you can, but it's going to happen and you just have to work it out. So the next thing is choosing the tool I need. So I have the side that's been pushed in. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to push back out against it. So I'm going to pop this out by using some tools. So I'm going to start with a straight, a pen looking type tool. I think I'm just going to use this guy. He's round on the end. Now again, I could do this with a pen. I don't need a fancy tool to do this. Okay? Actually, let's just start with the pen. Let's just show you. I'm using the pen. I don't have the tip out. I'm just using the pen. And right where I have that line pushed in, I'm using the pen to push the metal back out. So you can think of this kind of coloring in, right? Like you're coloring something in, as you would a coloring book. You've created the outlines on your coloring book, and now you're coloring in the space to get it to pop out. So now it's starting to pop out a little bit. You can see the reflection there is popping out a little bit. Now you could take then a popsicle stick. This tool kind of has a rounded end to it, and I could go in and really spend some time coloring it in and popping it out. There's lots of different tools for this. We have a few, but again, that pen, dull pencil, that stuff works. And I'm not going to do this entire design for you, but I wanted to get far enough where I could show you a couple things. So as I did that, you're going to see that that texture does show up in the metal. Now sometimes that's going to look cool, right? You want that texture in this cat, it looks good, right? But if I don't want that texture, I'm just going to make sure I need to go a little bit slower and not press quite as hard and allow the process to kind of stay smooth and worry more about pushing the metal out as opposed to doing it quickly. But if you want some of that texture, you can use the tools to create it. And don't be afraid to kind of like press in there and really pop that metal out. Notice too, I'm working on a magazine, like there's an old magazine. In class, you'll have a stack of paper, but if you are one of the people who end up having to do this at home, stack of paper, old magazine, something that you can push against that has a little bit of give to it, right? That isn't super solid, but isn't just like a, stack of towels. I tried a few different things to see what worked best, and the stack of paper works well. So here you go. It's kind of popping out, or you can see it there. It's popping out. So now I'm going to go back and do what's called chasing. So I flipped it over. I'm on the other side, and instead of trying to pop it out, I'm going to use this again. Instead of trying to pop it out, I'm going to go along these edges and push that metal back down so it accentuates me popping it out. Gosh, this tool bends like crazy. I'm going to use a bit stronger tool. So I'm pushing right up against those lines and cleaning them up. And I'm pressing pretty hard here. Don't be afraid to do that. Now look how clean that line looks. It's popping out a little bit more. Let's try the DVD thing again. All right, so then I can flip it back over and say, you know what? That worked pretty well. I want it to like really pop out some more. And I'm gonna go back in and push it out some more, flip it back over, clean up my line a little bit. So you can go back and forth. And that's what I kind of ended up doing is I push it a little bit and then I come back and do it again. Some areas, like let's say this area in the eye, let's say I want that to go back in further. So instead of pushing it out from the back, I can go here and push that in. Right? That's that 3D thinking that we're trying to get to, is thinking about how we want to use space to our advantage. So I want the eye to pop back into the face a little bit. So there, I pushed it back in, and now we have a little bit more 3D effect. So this is what you're going to do with your repousse. I'll pop this up. This is my final example that I made. It's kind of hard to see because it's really reflective, but it's got a lot of detail. You can see the flip side and the other side. So that's essentially what you're going to do in your projects. Take your time with it. Yours is going to be 6x6 as opposed to 8x10 because this took me a really long time. So when you make your drawings, make them 6x6 so that it fits the template. We'll trace it right onto your foil, and then you're going to go for it and create a leaf carving. All right, good luck.